Coming up next, Clint Eastwood stars in Firefox. Certain terms and conditions apply. Call 1-800-825-8052 for complete details. Don't miss Encore's fabulous introductory offer. You must act now to receive Encore for $1 a month. There's been a change in our marketing plan. Call now, 1-800-825-8052 to get more details and to order Encore 24 hours a day, and you'll receive free installation. This limited time offer must end soon. Then Encore's price will increase up to $4.95 a month. This week, Encore has the brightest stars. Art Carney takes his act on the road.
Oh, I'm old and cranky and just a general all-around pain in the butt.
To find romance and adventure in Harry and Tonto. Clint Eastwood and Sandra Locke are a mismatched set. In the modern Western comedy, Bronco Billy. This man changed the course of history. George C. Scott stars in the historical epic Patton.
Right hand walk with the animals.
Rex Harrison does more than just talk to the animals in the classical musical fantasy Dr. Dolittle. All this and more coming to Encore this week. Saturday. Coming up next, it's Anne Margaret in the star-studded Western Stagecoach. Friday, John Voight and JoBeth Williams star as the parents of a confused teenager in Desert Bloom. Saturday, Ethel Merman and Donald O'Connor take their vaudeville act on the road in the outlandish musical There's No Business Like Show Business. And Sunday, Burt Lancaster and Macaulay Culkin star in the heartwarming drama Rocket Gibraltar. It's a primetime premiere weekend, every weekend, beginning Friday at 9 Eastern.
What you pay for, what you get. An entire month of Encore costs less than a single trip to the video store. Encore delivers quality movies worth renting to your TV 24 hours a day. You only need to watch one movie a week to get your money's worth. Over 40 movies a month, uncut and commercial-free. What you pay for, what you get. Encore.
James Stewart stars in the vaudevillian family comedy Dear Brigitte. Dancing, romancing, fun and games, wacky dames, silly walks, a seal that talks, back to school. He's no fool. It's Encore's second annual Good Clean Fun Film Festival. 6 great movies the entire family can enjoy together, including 3 Encore premieres. Jimmy Stewart and Maureen O'Hara take the family on a hilarious holiday in Mr. Hobbs Takes a Vacation.
From now on, we're going to live our lives, and they can live their lives, and happy landings to everybody. Good night, honey.
Bing Crosby is a widowed millionaire who makes a strange college freshman in High Time.
I've just come to the realization it's high time somebody in this family got a college education.
And it's Jimmy Stewart once again in the story of a boy genius determined to meet a French film star in Dear Brigitte.
Enchantée, Mademoiselle Bardot. Mais vous parlez français?
You'll also see The Golden Seal, The Buddy System, and the always entertaining Some Like It Hot.
We wouldn't be caught dead with men. Rough, hairy beasts, 8 hands.
So don't miss the second annual Good Clean Fun Film Festival, Saturday, May 22nd and Sunday, May 23rd on Encore. Are you ready for some rough riding, straight shooting, cow punching, fall in the saddle westerns?
See,
Good, because Encore's got a mess of 'em heading your way.
we'll drink to it, amigo.
Why, we've got Duel of Diablo, My Name is Nobody, How the West Was Won, Rio Conchos, Old Gringo, Breakheart Pass, The Comancheros, Take a Hard Ride, The Magnificent Seven, Bite the Bullet, Warlock, and Young Guns of Texas. For those you a little slow on the ciphering, that adds up to an even dozen. That's right, 12 action-packed westerns during Encore's Western Roundup, premiering Friday, July 16th through Sunday, July 25th. The weekend. It means fun, excitement, relaxation. It also means 3 premiere movies on Encore. Friday, Tamara Dobson and Shelley Winters star in the high-camp action-adventure Cleopatra Jones. Saturday, Robin Williams and Walter Matthau are on the run from a crazed gunman in the dark comedy The Survivors. And Sunday, Tom Cruise and Mia Sara star in the visually stunning fantasy Legend. It's the weekend. Relax. You've got Encore. Case number 1. Robin Williams and Walter Matthau witness an armed robbery and wind up hiding out in a survivalist camp in The Survivors. Case number 2. Roger Moore is a misogynist cat lover called in to foil the terrorist takeover of oil rigs in the North Sea in Folks. Case number 3. Charles Bronson is a mafia informer risking life and limb in the Valachi Papers. Case number 4. An eccentric millionaire invites the world's super sleuths to dinner, and a murder is served up for dessert in Murder by Death. Conclusion: Crime Doesn't Pay. Premiering Saturdays in September at 9 Eastern. Director John Avildsen said he was glad to be making a movie without any stars. But the movie he made sure did make stars out of Ralph Macchio, Elizabeth Shue, and Pat Morita. Hi, I'm Jim Gallant for Encore, and I'm sure you're going to get a kick out of The Karate Kid. Nobody really expected John Avildsen's Little Karate movie to be a blockbuster, but he'd fooled the skeptics before. His Rocky, with no major stars, had captured both the Best Picture and Best Director Oscars for 1976. Well, this was 1984, though, and nothing he had done in the past 8 years had come even close to rivaling Rocky's success.
Still, Avildsen was an actor's director, and he could spot talent on a set. The young talent Avildsen chose for The Karate Kid was Ralph Macchio. He plays Daniel, the New Jersey transplant who tries to adapt to life in Southern California. At the time, Macchio was best known for The Outsiders from Francis Ford Coppola. He'd shared screen time with Matt Dillon, C. Thomas Howell, Patrick Swayze, Rob Lowe, Emilio Estevez, and Tom Cruise. So it's a credit to his acting ability that Avildsen even noticed him in a lineup like that. But he did, and the part was his. Noriyuki Morita was better known as Pat Morita to fans of TV's Happy Days, which included just about anyone with a TV set back then. He was so familiar to audiences that Avildsen was hesitant to cast him as Mr. Miyagi, the wizened Japanese-American gardener who trains Daniel in the martial arts. Now, his audition convinced the director that moviegoers would forget all about Happy Days Arnold when Morita's Mr. Miyagi walked on the screen. Well, even though it began as a movie with no stars, The Karate Kid overcame all odds and wound up a winner, grossing almost $100 million at the box office. And a year later, it was the third highest-selling title in video history, right behind The Empire Strikes Back and Gone with the Wind. Not bad company. So, here it is, and I know you're going to have fun watching it. Encore's presentation of The Karate Kid. It's rated PG for explicit language and violence.
The weekend. It means fun, excitement, relaxation. It also means 3 premiere movies on Encore. Friday, Michael Caine is a father racing against time to save his kidnapped son in The Black Windmill. Saturday, it's Scott Hylands and Katherine Hellman in the medical drama The First 36 Hours of Dr. Durant. And Sunday, Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd star in the blockbuster comedy Ghostbusters. It's the weekend. Relax. You've got Encore. Hey, have you heard the one about the Ghostbusters who went laughing while making house calls in used cars to see the big picture of the toy getting the shampoo? Trust us, it's funny. Encore's Crazy Comedies, premiering Saturdays and Sundays in October at 9 Eastern. Hi, I'm Jim Gallant for Encore, and our next movie involves a Hollywood screen legend, an eccentric television mogul, and a professional basketball player. When they get together, it causes quite a stir at both the Pentagon and the White House. That's not the movie plotline, but it is what happened when word got around that Gregory Peck, Ted Turner, and Denver Nuggets star Alex English were going to make Amazing Grace and Chuck. The story is actually about a Little League pitcher named Chuck who stages a one-boy protest against nuclear weapons. It called for a visit to the White House and to a Minuteman missile silo. But the Air Force was less than happy with the premise of the film, and they denied the movie makers access to Minuteman facilities. In 1986, when Amazing Grace and Chuck was being made, films like Top Gun were getting carte blanche from the armed forces. They made the military look appealing. But Amazing Grace and Chuck, a Pentagon spokesman said, was anti-nuclear and contrary to both Department of Defense and White House policies. The film was partially financed by cable news network founder Ted Turner, who was at the time also trying to bring about more normalized relations with the Soviet Union through things like his American-Soviet goodwill games. Because of that, he was already on less than firm footing with the Reagan administration, and Amazing Grace and Chuck wasn't going to earn him an invitation to tea at the White House.
Gregory Peck's story was different, though. He was starring in Amazing Grace and Chuck as the President of the United States, and was a man most people identified with Mom, the flag, and apple pie. So, the movie was made without military or White House assistance and filmed to great advantage in Montana. Even White House interiors were built in a warehouse there. Well, you probably couldn't find a better actor to play President of the United States than Gregory Peck. His career has been built on trustworthy characters. He earned his first Academy Award nomination in his second starring role, that of a priest in The Keys to the Kingdom. And as Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird, he set a standard for fatherhood for a whole generation of moviegoers, and picked up an Oscar in the process. So, here he is, Gregory Peck, along with Jamie Lee Curtis, in Encore's presentation of Amazing Grace and Chuck. It's rated PG for explicit language. Hi, I'm Jim Gallant, and if you're looking for action, romance, suspense, and humor, then our next Encore feature presentation, The Big Gamble, will pay off as a big winner. Fresh from his defeat in the chariot race in Ben-Hur, Stephen Boyd stars with Juliet Greco. They play a newlywed couple looking to finance a trucking company in Africa, of all places. So they get the family blessing in Ireland and the cash to buy a truck and set off for the Dark Continent. David Wayne plays their milquetoast cousin who tags along to protect the family investment, and along the way he adds a little comic relief. Now, whoever said that half the fun of anything is getting there obviously didn't drive a truck across French equatorial Africa, because it's a long, bumpy haul, carrying a load of dreams over miles of treacherous turns. Anyway, the action is rugged, but the dialogue is light and quite funny. Speaking of dialogue, it was written by a very well-spoken screenwriter and novelist, Irwin Shaw. Now, you may remember him from a later novel and television miniseries. Remember what it was called? Rich Man, Poor Man, that's right. The producer of The Big Gamble is the legendary Darryl F. Zanuck. Shot on location from Ireland to the Ivory Coast, no expense was spared to bring this drama to the big screen. One 5-minute scene in which the truck gets bogged down in a river took weeks to prepare and many days to shoot. The location, by the way, was not in Africa, but in the south of France. Now, this may not be the story of a man named Jed, but it is time to load up the truck and move to the hills of Ivory, the Ivory Coast, that is, as Encore presents The Big Gamble. Enjoy. Hi, I'm Jim Gallant for Encore, and our next presentation is Willow, a fantasy film from the rich imagination of producer George Lucas, the man responsible for the Star Wars trilogy and the Indiana Jones movies. Willow is a story made up of trolls and fairies, warriors, sorcerers, and a community of little people called Nelwyns. An evil queen, played by Jean Marsh, unleashes her anger and power to kill every newborn in the land to make sure that baby Princess Allura never has the chance to grow up and rightfully take over her throne. Well, the royal infant is floated downriver by a sympathetic midwife and ends up on the banks of the Nelwyns' peaceful settlement. Willow, played by Warwick Davis, is commanded by his leader, played by veteran actor Billy Barty, to return the child to the good queen and her people. Along the way, Willow journeys through fantastic kingdoms, meeting a unique assortment of creatures. He teams up with a renegade warrior, played by Val Kilmer, who helps him avert the perilous traps set by the evil queen. Kilmer also has his own problems when he falls for the evil queen's lovely daughter, played by Joanne Whalley. By the way, Kilmer and Whalley met on Willow and later were married. How about that? The brave band of traveling heroes also get a little, and I mean very little, help from two 9-inch brownies, played by Kevin Pollak and Rick Overton. Shot in New Zealand, Wales, and England, Willow brought together the largest cast of little people ever assembled since The Wizard of Oz. Besides some use of children, the casting director had to import midgets and dwarfs from all over Europe. Well, this created a language problem, as few of the extras were able to speak English. Language barriers were the least of director Ron Howard's problems. According to the director, the most difficult scene to shoot was the big sword battle. There were 400 to 500 soldiers fighting on the castle grounds, as another battle between two sorcerers takes place in the tower overhead. And all this happens in a rainstorm. Well, it was a logistical nightmare, and he used every film trick in the book. What you'll see on the screen is a perfectly orchestrated scene without any hints of the complicated process involved. Willow wasn't treated too well by the critics, but as with many successful films, the public didn't agree, and they went to see it anyway, despite the press. George Lucas pulled out all the stops for the special effects, and Willow is visually one of the most fantastic films brought to the screen. Well, I know you're going to enjoy the film, so let's watch it now. It's rated PG for violence. Hi, and thanks for watching Encore. I'm Jim Gallant, and in a minute, we're going to climb into a real time machine called Fathom and take a trip back to a world you may or may not remember well. It's the campy world of the early 60s. Fathom was released in 1967, but its real influences were the movies and fads of the first half of that decade. Ian Fleming's suave, sexy, top-secret agent James Bond burst onto the screen in 1962 with Dr. No. And it was such a hit that 3 more Bond films came out before 1965. Well, 20th Century Fox felt an adventuress along the Bond lines might be a box office draw, so they bought the rights to some thriller novels based on a jet-setting female named Fathom Harville. Well, her passion was counter-espionage and the war against organized crime. And one of the stories was set against the backdrop of the, at that time, new and glamorous sport of skydiving. You'll see that photographed to good advantage in the movie Fathom. At the helm was Leslie Martinson, who came from television to direct first PT-109, the John F. Kennedy story, and then in 1966 a campy movie, Batman, which became the inspiration for the popular Adam West, Burt Ward television series. The director of photography was the very talented Douglas Slocum, a man with 20 years' experience who would later film Raiders of the Lost Ark for Steven Spielberg. Now, who do you cast as Fathom, the beautiful adventuress? Big stars at the moment were Julie Andrews from The Sound of Music, or Barefoot in the Park's Jane Fonda, Julie Christie from Dr. Zhivago. There was one new face. It belonged to Raquel Welch, the ex-wife of a tuna fisherman and a mother of 2 small children. She'd worked her way up from bit parts in beach movies to a starring role in the science fiction thriller Fantastic Voyage. And here, thought Fox, was a female version of the incredibly attractive Sean Connery's James Bond. Were they right? Well, you decide. Ready to go on a trip to Spain? Well, most of Fathom's outdoor action was filmed there, and you'll get some spectacular views from a skydiver's perspective. So pack up your parachute and let's get going. It's time to enjoy Encore's presentation of Fathom. Enjoy. Tuesday, Gregory Peck and Henry Fonda lead an all-star cast in director John Ford's epic western, How the West Was Won. Wednesday, Natalie Wood and Richard Beamer share a forbidden love in the 1961 Best Picture Oscar winner, West Side Story. And Thursday, it's Jack Nicholson and Danny DeVito in the 5-time Academy Award-winning drama, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. 3 prime-time midweek blockbusters beginning Tuesday, December 28th at 9 Eastern.